Hey everybody, Thunder in the Desert here. Notice I'm getting more subscribers and I don't know why. I guess people like listening to me jaw all the time. Uh, I can do that. I like talking about world affairs and things that are going on here in a truthful manner, which you won't hear anywhere else. Well, not on the mainstream media anyway. You know, I can't in recent history or even in my lifetime, I can't remember the words World War III and nuclear war being used as often as they are right now. And not only that, but in a nonchalant manner almost, like, these newscasters are different people. Yeah, World War III, or yeah, nuclear war. Yeah, there could be nuclear. What are these people insane? Is everybody gone insane? To just in an offhand way talk about attacking Russia, nuclear war, wars on the table, wars inevitable. Has the world gone fucking insane? Because if we have nuclear war, and I did previous videos on this, and the political scum thing, and all the rest of it, it's unbelievable that people are talking about nuclear war in a nonchalant manner, and the actions that are going on around the world, and it's all because of one government, this government, the USA, okay, and NATO, trying to take over the friggin' world. What are they doing? Is there a reason for that? Power? Money? Land? Resources? Can we say all those things? But when you get to thinking hard on it, are those all those things, or any of those things, or all of the above? Are they worth turning this planet that we live on into a cinder? This guy, one of the guys that's really pushing this thing in the United States, I think it's Defense Secretary. I think it's Ash Carter, and I'm thinking, what a name for a guy that's pushing nuclear war. You couldn't make this shit up. Ash, as in nuclear ash, as in everybody's going to be in ashes. Sometimes I scratch my head and I go, can you, I mean, for real? For real, his name's Ash? Ash Carter. He should be put to the sword, okay? Along with a bunch of other people like Hillary and any person in the government that is doing the bidding of the shadow government, which is the elite, the money people, the ones running the show here. Things are out of hand, people. Things are totally out of hand, and there's factions. There's things going on right now that I can see plainly. Okay, because I am a strategist. I am a warrior. I am aware. I am enlightened. I see things. And one of the things that I see is that there's factions going on here in our government. It's almost like an internal coup, okay? A coup d'etat. Meaning one part of the government, a military part or some part, is trying to do one thing, And the ruling part, or the governmental, the political, the presidential, the commander-in-chief, supposedly, quote unquote, vacillates continually on what he wants to do. And it seems to be like they're at odds. Okay, I'm seeing a division within our government. I'm seeing, well, let's take, for example, when the crimes that Hillary Clinton committed, as far as emails and the email server, which is a much bigger deal, like I said in my last video, than any kind of sex scandal or any of that bullshit. It's a diversion when they accuse the other candidate of a sex scandal, okay? But James Comey, or whatever the guy's name is, it's the head of the FBI, giving her a pass, okay, on blatant criminality and violation of security procedures within the White House and within the government, blatant violations. Giving her a pass on that upset a lot of rank and file FBI people, career veterans of the FBI are upset. They did a lot of legwork putting that case together, and then here comes Comey, this stooge puppet that should be put to the sword, giving her a pass or a pardon, but saying on one hand, yeah, she did do a lot of things wrong, violated this, violated that. In other words, violated enough laws to where if it was you or I or any person in particular other than her, we'd spend a lot of time in prison. So just the fact that there's a division in the FBI and that some people are like, wow, what's going on here, man? We don't like this. And just the fact that you got one side of the government saying, let's go bomb Syria, let's go send planes and aircraft and all kinds of shit in there and bomb Syria. Well, they can't do that. They can't do it because Russia basically established a no-fly zone. They moved in their S-300, S-400 missiles everywhere. If there's one plane that flies close to their aircraft, or one plane that goes up and tries to bomb any kind of Syrian infrastructure or Syrian military bases, which incidentally has a lot of Russians in there too, they're going to get shot out of the sky. Those S-400, S-500 missile systems can hit a football in the sky at about 60,000 feet. No shit. Close to it. In a heartbeat, in a second, before they even know what hits them. Plus, Russia has jamming equipment that is far beyond anything anybody's ever heard of. They can make whole sections of land and airspace go blank. Okay. So here you got Obama and the crew sitting in the White House or the Oval Office and having talks about, well, should we strike or shouldn't we strike? Should we go in and start World War III and not be able to back out of that? Or should we just let it ride and do some other kind of covert, dark trickery right out of the, everything is out of the unconventional warfare manual. All this psyop stuff, dark covert shit, it's all out of the manual. It's all out of the playbook. See, now let me just digress here a minute and talk about history and the fall of civilizations. Let me talk about, we've always had invaders, okay? We've always had people that wanted to take other people's land. We've always had people that wanted to, one king wanting to overthrow another king. There's always been disputes. There's always been war. That's why I study war. That's why I look at all the manuals. That's why I look at up-to-date manuals. That's why I look at the Sun Tzu's Art of War, Musashi's Book of Five Rings. Anything that I can get my hands on, even strategy games, so I can follow what these fools are doing, okay? So I can follow it and keep tabs on it. But there's always been people being sacrificed in the name of some agenda that some government has. And where has it led to? Well, usually it leads to a lot of bloodshed, a lot of people, innocent people dying. Like in Syria right now, 300,000 so far, men, women, children. Think about that for a minute. 300,000 people dead because of this game they're playing, this, Game of Thrones for real or whatever. There's always been this going on, people. There's always been war. But now let's put a new spin on this. Let's look at this in a sobering reality here. Let's look at it like we're at a critical situation in our development with technology, and a unified domino effect that could affect the whole world. In other words, we're in a situation now where it's not just one kingdom trying to overthrow another kingdom like in the old days, back in when the Vikings invaded England or that type of thing. It's not like that, or it's not like when the Indian tribes had skirmishes to take horses and take other people's grazing land and those kind of battles. More of an honorable type thing. What we're doing today is we got thousands of nuclear warheads around the world. Russia is far advanced of us as far as nuclear capability goes and technology. They got airplanes that'll outfly anything that we got in the air, and I know because I was a pilot, still am. So we're at a situation now where when people start talking about, nuclear war, I mean, just offhand shit like, we're going to the front line with our swords. We're going to go up there with our swords and our shields, and we're going to do battle, right? No, we're not going to. The shields are electronic, and the swords are nuclear-tipped intercontinental ballistic missiles, missiles that'll go into the ionosphere, into orbit. We're talking instant destruction here. And if not instant, like I said in my earlier video, we're talking massive destruction with firestorms and then a slow, agonizing death in a nuclear winter. And so people are nonchalantly just talking about that like, we could go, war, World War III, nuclear war. You say words enough time. You say words, it's a metaphysical law, okay? You think words, you think thoughts, or you think, you spew out of your mouth poison, like nuclear war or World War III or blah, 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 blah. You send that thought out into the universe enough, and guess what happens? It becomes a reality. It becomes a reality. And why is everybody, everybody, maybe not the mainstream media so much, but a lot of people are talking about nuclear war in a nonchalant fashion. And they're talking about a coinciding financial collapse. Well, if there's nuclear war, obviously there's going to be a financial collapse. Oops. Guess we won't be trading stocks on the stock market today. So, got to look at all this shit in the totality of what's going on. Like I always say, you got to look at the big picture. You got to see the forest for the trees. So am I concerned about this? Well, nobody particularly wants to look forward to a nuclear winter. I don't mind dying if I go quick with a sword in my hand or a weapon. And see, that's exactly why we're in the situation we're in now, because the founding fathers of this country gave us the Second Amendment and the right to organize militias for this very reason. For the very reason that they knew that governments could get out of control. And they knew that even the government that they were forming back in 1776 or whatever the fuck it was, they knew that it could get out of control. And so they gave people a way to overcome that. Of course, they couldn't foresee into the future all the technology, but let's put it this way: if non-armed societies are usually taken over and become police states or have a dictatorship for leaders, and the people suffer. Just like the E Ching, the ancient oracle of China, says, when the evil are in power, the people suffer. People should do a little bit more reading and a little bit, enlighten themselves and gain a little bit more wisdom, like yours truly, about some of the things that are going on and have gone on in history, so that they can make an informed decision as to whether they want to try to overthrow a government, or whether they want to go against the grain, or whether they want to do massive protest, or whether they want to... But see, people got their thumbs up their ass. I was talking to a friend the other day about, you go into... it's become a technological society. It's become a... technology has become a big distraction. It's become a big hypnotic tool. I hate cell phones, okay, even though I have one. But look what people do. I mean, you go to somewhere like, let's say you go to a coffee shop, Starbucks or something, and you're sitting there and somebody walks in, say, some young lady or young man or whatever walks in, and you're like, you're checking them out. I'm a people watcher. I watch people. And they look like they might be bright and intelligent, and they go up and order their coffee and they sit down at the table, and then right away they aren't. When they pull out their iPod and put both fingers on it and just stare at it and do their little thing with their fingers over and over and over again and don't even look up, not even for a second, or they sit there and they slide their finger like they're looking at photos or hitting shit, and they'll do that for, like, I've seen people do that for an hour straight without even looking up. Without even looking up. And without looking around, let's say they're sitting out on a balcony and there's birds or trees or the wind's blowing or it's a nice day, there's clouds in the sky going across the sun, or do they have a fucking clue as to what's going on around them? People are totally in a hypnotic trance, like they're on some kind of drug or something, with this iPod thing, okay? And then when they get home, where do they go? Directly to the computer. Hello? But what are they doing on there? They're just fucking around doing bullshit stuff. They're not really doing what they could do, which is research, okay? Research, digging up alternative forms of media, trying to get informed on what's going on in the world, trying to get enlightened, trying to do metaphysical things, maybe meditation, researching their family roots, whatever. Researching history, finding out what books they can buy to read, to educate themselves, to learn about things. I'll tell you what, I get a book every 3-4 days. I've got 5-6 books on backlog here sitting in my bedroom here that I haven't even read yet, that I'm like, okay, I'll get to that. Most of them are about history or meditation or enlightenment, or then I get DVDs that are an update on I'm a martial artist, so I always look at different techniques. I entertain or I do art, but I don't just sit there and become mindless. Everything I do is creative, and everything I do has a reason, and everything I do is research, and everything I do is I don't drop that ball of being aware of what's going on in my surroundings. In matter of fact, we have a group called Campfire Council of kindred souls that are just into this kind of thing, survival, our roots, whether they be Native American or whatever, our ancestral traditions. And then within that group, we have another group, which is composed of certain people within the main group, like myself and some key people that are keyed in on gathering intel, so that we can disseminate that to the rest of the council. So that's what we do. And so that's why I'm so informed, because I have an intel base that is I think is one of the best there is. It might even be better than some of the ones that the presidential candidates have, because they don't seem to know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't seem to know what the hell they're talking about, these candidates. And that's another divisive thing and a distracting thing that absolutely means nothing at all. They get people that have shit for brains to run and are totally manipulated and coaxed and don't really know what the hell they're doing, because they're just going to be puppets anyway. And then you got the masses of people. Talk about not having two brain cells that you can rub together. Why the hell would you want to go out and spend all your time waving some dumb sign for Trump or Hillary, or spend all your time running around sticking signs in lawns for vote for this person? And why would you want to go to a convention or go to a debate and scream and yell like you're at a freaking football game? Where's the cheerleaders? I want to see them. If I'm going to go to a game, let's have some scantily clad women out there shaking their ass or something. I mean, seriously. And this is what people do. This is what people buy into. This is what people are all about, is distracting themselves with mundane things that don't mean shit activities. That's like, Nero fiddling while Rome burned, okay? And these people are fiddling and diddling with their iPods while the USA and as a matter of fact, not just the USA, but the whole goddamn world's burning. I think people in America are spoiled rotten compared to some of the other countries where people are eating bark off fucking trees just to stay alive. People that are in Syria take a gander at what happened to Aleppo, a beautiful Mediterranean city of hundreds of thousands of people with beautiful villas and courtyards and everything, turned into rubble. Turned into freaking rubble. With people out of water, food, children being starved to death. And why? Because the USA has this agenda, and they put in some rebels in there that they tried to say are moderate rebels. Here's something I want to talk about. The Syrian conflict and how the USA decided that they'd go into a beautiful country like Syria and overthrow the elected official or the elected president of that country because they want a certain agenda to be played out. And how did they do that? Well, they sent in a proxy army of jihadists who are all hardcore mercenary thugs, murderers. And yes, they're on the payroll of the CIA and the USA and NATO. All these groups like Al-Qaeda and Al-Sham and Al-Nusra, and man, there's so goddamn many names I get tongue-tied trying to say them. But they're all the same. They're all funded by the USA. And they're all hired by the USA, and they all have CIA advisors, and they're all trying to overthrow the Syrian regime, the Syrian government, this whatever. And so in the process of doing this, Russia moved in because the USA created out-of-control terrorists that could spill over into other countries, and already there's millions of refugees spilling over into other countries, causing a complete imbalance in the world. How many people know about this stuff? How many people sitting in playing and diddling with their iPods at Starbucks know anything about this shit that's going on, or do they care even? And these people that are hired, these mercenary thugs, are doing the most ungodly things, chopping people's heads off, raping women, killing little kids, beheading children, pillaging and raping and destroying and killing and murdering and And it's all fun to them because they're getting paid money and they're mercenaries. And they don't give a shit whether they live or die as long as they can have a whole bunch of fun in a short amount of time. Wait till that happens here. Picture that here. Picture a bunch of guys running around with AK-47s and automatic weapons and grenades hanging off their... But see, we already got that. It's only it's in a low-profile police state manner. Because they're equipping every police force in the USA with all these same things that you see on all the advanced weaponry that you would see like over in the sandbox, you know, over there in Iraq or Iran. Thunder knows. I'm not bullshitting here. What are they getting ready for here? What happens when the shit hits the fan here and the 20 trillion plus dollars that we're in debt catch up here? It's actually more than that. It's about 120 trillion if you want to know the truth of the matter. What happens when there's no food on the shelves here? What happens when there's roving gangs eyeballing all kinds of people, old people, sweet young things that they want to just take in a back room and get down to business with? What's everybody going to do here when that happens? When there's a complete lawless society? Are you still going to be diddling with your iPod? And it's going to happen, people, because there's a financial situation around the world with the central bank system where countries are just boop, 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 falling one by one like dominoes. And civilization is one big civilization now. It's all connected. There's not just one isolated civilization over here, because what happens around the world, like say Deutsche Bank is about ready to collapse in Germany, one of the biggest banks that there is in the world. Guess what's going to happen if that collapses? Derivatives and stocks and bonds and all that shit are going to go right down the toilet. Right down the toilet. And guess how that's going to affect society? Guess what would happen if the two main rail lines that go across America that carry container freight no longer were carrying container freight? Can we say vacant food shelves? So, you know, the world has changed radically. From when I was a kid, everything is dependent on everything else. And dependency is going to be a bitch when it ain't there no more. And civilizations fall overnight, people. They fall over freaking night. Everything's just hunky-dory and rosy, and you're cruising along and doing your thing day to day. Not giving a damn about what's going on around the world, and then all of a sudden it's going to hit you like a friggin' freight train. And what has it come to? Well, it's come to the point of nuclear war. That's when the light at the end of the tunnel you're going to see is a freight train coming right towards you. So, you know, food for thought from Thunder in the Desert. I'm out here and I got everything I need to last me. I might last a while. Got a lot of kindred souls out here too, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and it's all ranchers and guns and self-sufficiency. But I care about my fellow man. You know, I care about people on the planet. I'm a warrior, but a true warrior is there to defend others. And a true warrior is there to sound a wake-up call. A true warrior does not think about just himself or herself. It's about the innocence. And boy, you sure get goddamn sick and tired of seeing innocent people being slaughtered by people that are out for the almighty buck and are out to just possess land, power, greed. Talk about a Mickey Mouse fucking society. Mickey Mouse, baby. Donald Duck, quack, quack. And that's all we got running this country is a bunch of quacks that should go down with a bunch of whacks from a sword. Because they're guilty of murder and genocide and the lowest crimes on earth. And they're guilty of not being enlightened and not being in a frame of mind that is conducive to, you know, a benevolent feeling and a feeling of peace, as opposed to a feeling of constant anxiety from people around the world that are going through. These same people that are diddling their iPods are really anxiety ridden. They just don't want to admit it. They're doing it to distract themselves from the horrors of society as we know it. One of them being going to work every day, slaving for a living, force-feeding yourself in the morning, getting up, brushing your teeth, taking a dump, getting in the car, going to work and coming home every day, sometimes 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet. Being a slave for these same people that have this agenda that are destroying the friggin' earth and the friggin' planet. Think of what you could do if you took all that energy you're expending to make money for them and their wars, and took that energy and turned it against them instead of giving it to them. You're enabling murderers, rapists, killers, warmongers. Pick up the sword, people, whether it be the sword of the spirit or the physical sword, and do something about it. Thunder's on his soapbox today, huh? I get this way sometimes. I can get a little intense, yes. Just ask anybody that knows me. I'm not trying to scare people, you know, and I have a good heart. People that know me know that I have a good heart. That's why I care so much. That's why I get on here and do these things periodically. Got to keep the embers going in the fire, you know. Wake people up. Get them to thinking, okay? It's not that I want you to dwell on horrific shit all day long and think about bad things and not enjoy life. Matter of fact, you know, you're a free spirit, and if you just want to cruise along in life and be comfortably numb. But there's a difference between doing that after you're informed, because then you're making a conscious decision to cut loose of the stuff, like I do sometimes. That's different than not being informed and not knowing and being a stupid shit. Okay, there's a big difference, because then you're making a conscious decision to either ignore it or, let's say, detach from it, like a Taoist point of view. And I got to do that from time to time, and you might not see videos from me for a long time, because what's Thunder doing? I'm sitting there in the corner meditating, or I'm doing my Tai Chi, or I'm taking a walk out in nature and thinking, man, I'm going to enjoy this while it's here. I'm going to enjoy life, and I'm going to have as much fun as I can. But that doesn't mean that I'm dropping the ball with information gathering and being aware. So yeah, it's a two-edged sword. It's a two-edged sword. The more you know, the more you know that you don't want to know, kind of. Especially when it gets to a situation like it is right now. So yeah, I'm done flapping my lips for today. Hope you get something out of this. People seem to like hearing me talk for some reason, because I keep getting more and more subscriptions to my YouTube channel, which I just really didn't even intend on this, really. The Reluctant Warrior. All right, I'll leave it there. This is Thunder. In the spirit of Crazy Horse. I'm out of here.